So the fire department takes me to NUMC, National County Medical Center, and I'm frozen, because I've been laying on the ground for 6 hours in January, and my leg is twisted, because the horse has rolled over it, and they're like, we got to knock you out before we can put you in a cast. We can't put you in a cast unless we knock you out. So I'm like, okay, and they gave me a shot, and I'm still there. I'm like, are you done? I'm like, what happened? And they're like, I didn't fall asleep, nothing happened. The shot was like useless. So they gave me another shot, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. So they gave me 4 shots. and they're like, we can't give you any more. If you give any more, you got to overdose. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? I'm 12 years old, I'm like, what do you want me to do? And eventually I fell asleep. Eventually it took effect and I fell asleep. And you just fall asleep the minute they push the piston. And I didn't do that. My blood was probably like yellow. Yeah, from the cold. I woke up upstairs with a cast on, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like, where am I? I got the best sleep of my life with the shots, so, but it was just crazy. And that was 8th grade. I was 8th grade when I went there, when I broke my leg. It changed my life, it really changed my life. They locked me up in my grandmother's house, which was next door to my house, and we owned both houses. And back then in the 80s, TV, oh my God, it was so horrible. It was like soap operas all day long. It was ridiculous. It was like 30 soap operas back then, and now it's like 2. But, and I hated soap operas. But that was crazy. I was riding a go-kart in the street with my cast on. I was doing everything with my cast. My orthopedic hated me. Every time I went there, he had to put a new cast on. He's like, I'm losing money with you. I'm like, well, I'm not going to lay in that bed and do nothing. So I was all over the place. And I had one of the big casts. I even rode my horse bareback because I couldn't get the cast in the stirrup of the saddle. So I said, forget the saddle. I get on bareback. And they wouldn't let me leave the property, though. Like, you have to stay in the ring. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm riding the horse with a cast on my leg. Then they cut it down below the knee. It was above the knee before. I couldn't ride then. But once they cut it below the knee, I was riding. I was like, I didn't give a shit. But, I was 12. I was 12 then. You don't understand what you're dealing with. I was a psychopath from the start. I love it. Oh my God, Keep going, keep going, keep going. The Energizer Bunny, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Tap, 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 tap. Why stop, One day you're going to be in the box, and you're going to say, I wish I did that, And that's the trick with the box, Before you get in that box, you want to say, I'm glad I did that. Not I wish I did that. Because the wish I did that is horrible. You don't want to go through eternity saying, I wish I did that. Say, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I tried that. I'm glad I had those events in my life, I mean, I'm sure there's not too many people that went to Woodstock and wish they didn't. 99? Yeah, they wish they didn't. That was a horrible Woodstock. They set everything on fire. But, things were different then. I went in 94. The rain, the mud people. Oh my God. What an event. It was crazy. But I loved it. I went home, I couldn't talk for 2 weeks. I couldn't make a noise for 2 weeks. My throat, I just had no voice for 2 weeks. I'm screaming and whatever. I went there with 3 pairs of shoes. I came home with none. It was crazy. It was crazy. But I would never not do it if I had the opportunity. I'm glad I went and did it. And great bands. The music was awesome. The naked people, there were naked people walking around in Woodstock. I had pictures. I don't know if I do anymore, but it was crazy. They weren't the people you wanted to see naked either. I can tell you that. I was like, put your clothes on already. You're not helping anybody here. But the ones you wanted to see the clothes on, no, they had clothes on. Or 3 inches of mud on them. It was crazy. It was so crazy. I went with my friends and I found the acid. I found the only real acid at Woodstock. I don't know how I found it, but I went through trails and trails, and I just stopped at this tent. I looked at this guy. He looked at me, and I said, "You got acid, don't you?" And I walked up to him and was like, "Yeah, I do." It was a match made in heaven. So. I don't know how it happened.